It is 7 in the morning. You have just woken up. Your biological hardware is booting online for the day. You have been conditioned to believe that you must consume physical fuel immediately to start your day. You believe your brain requires breakfast to function. You consume a standard, universally recommended healthy breakfast: a bowl of oats, a piece of fruit, or whole wheat toast. Within 20 minutes, you feel an immediate, powerful surge of cognitive alertness and physical energy. Your brain fog lifts. You assume this is the optimal preparation for complex, deep work. You assume you have successfully fueled your executive command center. You are entirely incorrect. You are mathematically engineering a severe, inescapable mid-morning cognitive collapse. To understand this inevitable collapse, we must track the exact neurochemistry of what that food is doing to your blood. When you consume carbohydrates, your digestive system does not care about the marketing on the packaging. It rapidly breaks them down into their absolute base molecular structure. These complex carbohydrates are instantly converted directly into raw, unrefined blood glucose, sugar. This payload of glucose is immediately dumped into your vascular system. Because you just woke up, your body is completely fasted. Your baseline blood sugar is highly stable, resting at absolute baseline. This sudden, massive influx of breakfast glucose causes a violent, vertical metabolic spike. In clinical biology, rapidly elevated blood sugar is highly toxic to your vascular system. It damages your blood vessels. Your body treats this spike not as fuel, but as a biological emergency. To prevent systemic organ damage from this toxic sugar level, your pancreas immediately deploys its primary defensive weapon, insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone. It acts as a biological chemical clamp. It binds to the glucose, violently forcing the sugar out of your circulating blood to protect your arteries. It shoves the raw energy directly into your muscle and fat cells for long-term storage, clearing the immediate threat from your bloodstream. But because your breakfast forced such an aggressive, unnatural glucose spike, your pancreas completely overreacts. It dumps an excessive, disproportionate amount of insulin into your system. This overcorrection creates a catastrophic biological plunge. Your blood sugar mathematically crashes far below your initial fasting baseline. This state is clinically defined as reactive hypoglycemia. You have manually engineered a blood sugar crash. This metabolic crash triggers a devastating neurological bottleneck directly inside your prefrontal cortex. Your brain is a metabolic furnace, but it cannot store its own energy. It demands a continuous, unbroken supply of glucose from your blood to synthesize ATP. But the insulin avalanche has completely stripped your bloodstream empty. The glucose has been locked away in your fat cells. Your executive command center is now physically, mathematically starved of raw fuel. The hardware is shutting down. You experience this neurochemical starvation as sudden, overwhelming lethargy at 11 a.m. Your focus shatters. Your motivation evaporates. Your starving brain panics. It immediately signals intense, uncontrollable cravings for more caffeine and more processed carbohydrates to manually force another spike. You are locked in a mathematical cycle of biological starvation. But the trap is even more insidious than you realize. To understand why eating breakfast is a biological error, we must examine what your body was already doing before you even opened your eyes. 30 minutes before you wake up, your biological clock triggers your adrenal glands. They secrete a massive, highly calculated pulse of cortisol into your system. This is known clinically as the Cortisol Awakening Response, or CAR. This natural cortisol spike signals your liver to dump its stored glycogen directly into your bloodstream as fresh glucose. Your body mathematically prepares itself for morning action by naturally elevating your blood sugar from the inside out. You wake up fully fueled. Therefore, when you eat a carbohydrate-heavy breakfast at 7 a.m., you are dumping exogenous sugar on top of a system that is already peaking with endogenous sugar. You force a double spike. Your blood glucose reaches astronomical levels, forcing your pancreas to do double the work to clear the toxicity. The resulting insulin crash is exponentially larger, and the cognitive starvation at 11 a.m. is mathematically guaranteed to be devastating.
To eliminate the insulin trap and secure unbroken focus, you must transition your brain away from a volatile glucose dependency.
You must skip breakfast entirely. You must remain in a strict fasted state throughout the morning. When you withhold external carbohydrates, your liver exhausts its glycogen stores. To survive, it begins converting your own stored body fat into a highly advanced alternative fuel. These molecules are called beta-hydroxybutyrate, or ketones. Unlike glucose, which requires insulin to enter most cells, ketones are biochemically unique. They seamlessly bypass the insulin pathway, easily crossing the blood-brain barrier to flood your prefrontal cortex with raw energy. In clinical biochemistry, ketones are a vastly superior fuel source. They provide a 25% higher yield of ATP, cellular energy, per molecule compared to glucose. Furthermore, ketones produce significantly less oxidative stress when metabolized. Your brain runs cleaner, cooler, and with absolute, uninterrupted mathematical stability. This is exactly why working in a fasted state feels incredibly sharp. You have weaponized your biology to sustain predatory focus. To execute this biological shift, you must implement the 16-8 cognitive fasting protocol. This is not a diet. It is cognitive architecture. You must terminate all caloric intake by exactly 8 p.m. Your digestive system requires a strict shutdown sequence to initiate cellular repair. When you wake up, you must strictly consume only black coffee or water heavily saturated with sodium and electrolytes to maintain your electrical gradient. By 10 a.m., your insulin levels are mathematically flatlined. Your liver initiates lipolysis and ketogenesis begins. Your brain is now running on premium endogenous fuel. You sustain this deep work state until exactly noon. Only then do you break the fast with a high-protein, zero-carbohydrate meal to completely avoid the afternoon insulin trap. By eliminating the morning carbohydrate load, you entirely bypass the glycemic detonation, the insulin avalanche, and the reactive hypoglycemia. You have mathematically engineered unbreakable cognitive endurance. You have successfully eliminated the insulin trap and secured a stable, fasted brain. Your hardware is fundamentally optimized for execution. But none of this metabolic perfection matters if the background music you are listening to is literally splitting your prefrontal cortex in half. Click here to discover the mathematical reality of dual task interference. Learn exactly why listening to lo-fi beats while working is biologically destroying your cognitive bandwidth, and how to engineer true acoustic zero.